Welcome, everybody starting to jump on. Hello, everyone. Welcome. We're going to give everybody a couple minutes to jump on. Really excited today. Going to be talking with an expert in the field of exercise and mindset, and even talking about weight loss and things that you can do. 2023, it's January. Everybody's thinking about it. Everybody's talking about it. We're going to get into what we can actually do. So I'm Dr. Ben Gallagher, F8 Well Centers, and I'm here with Michelle Gallagher. And she is the founder of the Mind Core Method. She's been teaching Pilates, yoga, training people CrossFit. Physically, CrossFit, training people physically and mentally for over 25 years. And I just wanted to bring Michelle on today, not just because she's my wife and is amazing, but because she has so much information. So today, this is going to be a live Q&A. And so we're going to be going through whiteboarding, talking about proper ways to exercise, some of the main reasons why people are not able to lose weight. And then I want you guys to ask questions, so start putting those down below, and we'll be getting through those as many as we can. Anytime we do a live Q&A, there's usually hundreds of people that ask questions, and so we only get through so many of them. If we don't get through them, send us a DM, reach out to me personally, Dr. Ben at f8wellcenters.com. You can email me, and even questions for Michelle as well. So welcome, everybody. Put down below where you guys are watching from. We've got Jerry out there, and anybody else, just welcome. Put down questions. Put down any weight loss goals that you have, any exercise goals that you're doing. But yeah, just again, Michelle, this is something that so many people, it's on the top of their mind. We were just in this small town deer hunting this weekend, and my kids were there, and they were like, man, there's a lot of people that just look unhealthy and sad, and just and the key word they said was sad, just because the body, when we are unhealthy, when we are not in good health state, it's hard to be happy and vibrant, and that's our whole point at F8, is to get people their life back.
Yeah, and the difference coming kind of my training, bachelor's in exercise science, where I met this cute guy, and stayed for my master's in exercise physiology. And that traditional world of exercise and fitness really pushes that whole exercise for weight loss. Like that will solve everything. If you just work out every day, and it doesn't matter how, apparently, you will just lose weight. And that is completely not completely accurate. What we find with habit development I've had with F8 and Dr. Gallagher is that there's so much more to being, holding excess weight. One of Dr. Gallagher's quotes is, "The solution to pollution is dilution," and he did get that from another amazing doctor. But it means that when we are exposing ourselves to different poisons, or there are toxic things in our body, or viruses, candidas, different things, parasites, different things that he talks about all the time going on in our body, the body is going to pull those away from our vital organs and hold them with water and in our fat cells. So a lot of times it's not so easy to say, just go exercise and you'll lose weight, because the body is protecting you from dying from those poisons. So it's a whole connection with making sure the underlying issues and systems in your body are in balance, and that you are moving and getting exercise. So there's healthy ways to get exercise, and it's going to go along with what you're doing with your health goals as well.
And really, when we think about exercise, the majority of people are either not doing enough exercise, or they're over-exercising. And so I think a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, where do I even start? But those that we find that are exercising are actually doing too much.
Yes.
Can you touch on some of that?
So I see that all the time. People are either sedentary and not moving. And back when I had my health crisis go on, I was, even with my background, was not moving either. And that was a big piece of getting myself moving. But then I had to learn how in a healthy way, because I was in a down state of knockdown with autoimmune and a bunch of different things going on. So I couldn't just get into it. I couldn't do CrossFit with him, which he was going to. And I thought it was crazy at the time. I had to start from a base of being healthy with my adrenals and overall body health, and make sure I was staying within a zone of heart rate and healthy exercise, that I wasn't taxing my adrenals. So the basis that I teach people is to watch your heart rate. This for me is a loop, and that's how I track mine, but I've used Apple Watch and Fitbits and Garmin's and all different things. But the heart rate is humongous with exercise, humongously important. And I make sure that I'm at 180 minus my age, give or take a teeny little bit. So I won't say my age, but say you're 40, that would be 140 would be your maximum.
So we'll get into the heart rate thing in a second.
Okay.
I want you, since you were going over your story a little bit, why don't you tell
Touch
them,
base on that.
tell them how you started with your 3-minute workout and
It was 7. I got up to 7.
Well, you got up to, but when you started,
It might not have been there at first. So
Tell
yes,
me
I
a
had
little
4. We have 4 boys, and at that time I was living in. I didn't realize, but we were living in a very sick, neurotoxic mold home, and so that was hitting my immune system enough that Lyme, autoimmune to the brain in 3 places, was knocking me down enough to have an Andy help me with those 4 little boys, because I think the youngest was birth to like 2 when this was going on. And so I had to have a ton of help with just doing everything. And the functional medicine doctors I was working with at the time, it was like, uncover this, uncover that, uncover something else. And, you have, your blood-brain barrier being attacked and Lyme disease. So the big thing for me was focusing on rebuilding brain function, because that's what was literally being attacked in me. And I learned a bunch of techniques for stimulating brain-derived neurotrophic factor, BDNF. And one of those things is interval training, the high-intensity interval training, although recently I've decided I kind of want to rename it MIT, because I really believe more in a little bit more moderate intensity interval training.
Right, that was the thing. I've done CrossFit, I've done all types of different exercises over the year, and people will go and they'll do their pull-ups and do these burpees and all, and then there'll be a puddle of sweat and they'll want to throw up.
Yeah.
That's high intensity.
That's high intensity.
And that's going well beyond somebody's heart rate zone. So
Right.
let's get into this. Heart rate zone, we like, go ahead.
Yep, 180 minus your age. Now you're going to give yourself a little grace here. If your age is 37 and it comes out to an odd number, you can give yourself up to 140-ish. Stay in that range. But he's got an even stricter range if you're really, really not doing well.
So if you're coming off of a unhealthy state, if you have an autoimmune disease that hasn't worked out in years or ever, you want to even subtract from there. So let's just do the basic math. If you are 40, that would be 140 max, and if you're in an unhealthy state right now, that would be 135, and that's going to be the max heart rate, not the average or at the end of the workout your watch says, oh, that's what you average. No, this would be your max.
Do you know what I did is actually change my zones. Like in the Whoop, it wanted me, I think my 90 to 100% was like 160 it wanted me at, so I changed my maximums. So it would alter for me. I want to stand. It warned me that's really low, and I said, "Yep, thanks. I'm going to keep it right there." And I call it my green zone.
So this is kind of the plateau. So as you're warming up, we've got a couple of treadmills in the gym. This is our gym, if you couldn't tell. We've got a couple treadmills, bike, rower, a lot of ways to warm up. So you get that heart rate up and going, and then for that, whatever you have in you, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 7 minutes, 10 minutes, you would stay at that 135 range, and then you could do a little cool down, walk around, do some stretching, some things like that at that end. And we actually prefer stretching after the workout as opposed to before the workout.
But if you're going to stick with the interval training style, I like to stay within 10 points of that zone. So you'd be like 135, do something like, I might do some weights and get down to 125, and then maybe get on the treadmill, do the 135, and then get back down. Also, if you're at home, like all of my workouts on my website are no equipment, just at home, nothing needed. You're going to get that heart rate up for 20 seconds and bring it back down for 10. Bring it up for 20 seconds, bring it down for 10. So as long as you're within,
you've got these dips, because unless you're on a stationary bike or a treadmill and you're doing the same exact speed, then you're not going to be able to maintain it exactly like that, because your wall push-ups might only have you at 117, but your air squats might bump you up to 135. So you've got to play through there. Again, go ahead and pop down below where you guys are watching from, and let us know any questions that you guys have in regards to the exercise piece, thinking about weight loss. I'll go through some of the main reasons why people are not losing weight as well next. So again, 180 minus your age. A lot of you guys, if you are exercising now, are going
we find this all the time, and so orange therapy. We're not going to knock anyone. We were driving to our date the other night and saw this red zone, and I was like, Doc, I'm going to create a green zone where you actually stay in your ideal heart rate, because some of these are pushing too hard. I literally, a patient walked into our office one day and I was up front and she's sweating and she's like, she said, I can't get my adrenals, I can't get my blood sugar balance, and my hot flashes, I'm running 6 miles a day at 160 or 180 heart rate. And I was like, sweetie, chill. Like, no, maybe a mile we'll do for a little bit, and we're gonna bring the heart rate down. She's maybe in her 50s. So we were getting in the 130s maybe. And the thing is, as you train at your correct heart rate zone, you make your heart healthier, stronger. You make the whole cardiovascular and muscular, everything stronger in a healthy zone, that you actually can do more at that zone as you train yourself correctly. When you're doing that 160, you are tricking your body into thinking that lion is really going to attack you, and you're in fight or flight.
So let's just talk about it from a physiological perspective here. If you are going 160, 170, 180 beats per minute, and a lot of people can do that actually pretty darn easily, then the body thinks, again, it's in this fight or flight state. The adrenals, there are stress glands, they're going to kick out this adrenaline, all of their hormones, that's like, holy cow, we've got to keep going, we've got to be in this revved up state. So many of you are already adrenal deficient, and so then you go and you try to whip those adrenals even more. Jocelyn, good morning from Colorado Springs. Good to see you there. Thanks for jumping on. So your adrenals are already depleted, and then you go and whip it. Exercise can actually be very nourishing and supportive to the adrenals. And that's where, if you get enough of a little oomph, it's going to be constructive. What are some of the things you want to look for if someone's overdoing it?
Okay, I vividly remember one time you and I and one of our coworkers, Steven, were here working out, and everybody was kind of pushing it. And I went, I'm over my heart rate zone, I'm gonna chill. And you guys were like, we're using a different zone today. We're using it. And they went ahead and pushed it. And the rest of the day, they were tired, just more fatigued, just kind of groggy out of it. And I wasn't, because I stayed in my zone. And I was like, I know that. Just tried it once, but it's that fatigue, that kind of lack of energy.
So right after the exercise, if you're feeling tired after the exercise, then we definitely are having an over-exercise, an over-exertion. So if you want to go lie down, if you want to take a nap, if you're like, ooh, I'm going to just sit in the chair for a while, that was too much. And some people think that, oh, I didn't do it enough because I don't have that. But if you do have that, you just whipped your adrenals, you just made them go to that point of, man, I don't think I can keep doing this. But you all have jobs and cars and kids and COVID and presidents and gas prices and whatever else you want to stress about. And so when we start thinking about exercise, it needs to nourish. It cannot overstimulate. Absolutely. And so for me, yes, there could be that initial fatigue, but afternoon, I definitely, if I go too much, I'll start yawning. I get tired in the afternoon. Otherwise, I've got the same energy all the way till, when's my, 8 o'clock, I start going down a little bit, but we're up at 5 and cranking. Renee, good to see you there in Portland. Yeah, let me know. I'm going to be on with Julie tonight, Renee, and jump on that Zoom. I'd love to see you. So when we start thinking about weight loss, there's some things that really come into play here, because it's not about just cutting calories. It's not about we just talked about. It's not about exercising more. It's actually, because it's not a calories in, calories out thing. There's specific physiological systems that are needed, and if you need support, if you know anybody that's looking for answers but is over-exercising or can't lose weight, Brittany just put the link tree button down below, and you can jump onto that one and go over all the information, sit down with one of our team members, etc. So some of the things that we think about are going to be blood sugar is going to be one of the #1 ways to actually start losing weight and stabilizing that blood sugar. So many people think about blood sugar spikes is the only thing, but crashes as well. Our 18-year-old son, we've had a CGM on him, for a few months, and pretty amazing. What are some of the things he's saying?
Yeah, he's really been keeping track of what foods are working, what foods are not. Just a lot of the same things our patients are noticing. He cannot do rice, but I don't think you've ever found a patient who can. I can't do it either.
Very few patients can do rice without that blood sugar.
Yeah, it's just he found a lot of little things to whittle out, and you know, we're very like meat and veggie based, but as our kids were growing, that didn't, at 4 boys in teenage, it wasn't filling them enough, so we added some starch on the side, and he started taking those out. When
he lost a whole belt size just by doing it. He was still eating like a growing teenage boy.
Yeah,
and
he was 18.
He lost a whole belt size. He's not doing athletics anymore. He's got a wood shop and does a bunch of hands-on stuff, but different than just like going out and running around nonstop. And so, you know, just by getting his, and he's not perfect even, and yet, you know, probably down 10, 15 pounds. So we always say you can't out-exercise a poor diet. So if your blood sugar is all out of balance, and especially the highs and lows, then there's no way you're going to have an ideal body weight in there, which is the most cost-effective CGM. My insurance doesn't cover them. Hannah, we use a Dexcom G6, and it's set up through the company, and we're able to get those for every one of our new patients uses a CGM. That's just ground floor 101 that we have to do. You can use a finger prick glucose monitor, but a lot of people, we get a 3-month supply for our patients. A lot of them end up repurchasing another 3 months just because it's so effective. Some people don't need it, but yeah, again, I'm getting ready. I'm gonna let my team know I need another one today. It's been probably 3 months, and it's great to show you guys, but it's also really good information for me as well. So yes, the CGM is crucial in there. When we think about inflammation, that is another big part of where we're going to be getting fluid from. And I mean, just when you had your major health issue in our old house, you know, you were feeling that inflammation as well.
Yeah, I think I was super skinny at that time. I couldn't digest anything, but yes, everything was uncomfortable, everything was sluggish, everything was tired.
Yep, that lymphatic system has to move. So when we think about inflammation, we think about toxins. And so a lot of times if somebody gets a food allergen, what happened when you first took out gluten?
Yeah, it was about 15 pounds gone in a week.
Yeah. and this was back in 1997 before anybody had ever even heard of gluten. And so Michelle took out gluten, and you know, literally 10, 15 pounds in a few weeks, just by getting out that inflammatory food, that toxin out of there, and made a huge difference. So inflammatory foods, it could also be living in a moldy house.
Environmental.
Yep, environmental. You know, even looking at what you're putting on your body is a huge thing. The research shows women are exposed to 160 chemicals on average by the time they leave their bathroom every morning. Just hair and face, and I don't even know all the things that we've got 4 boys, so I don't have to know all those things. And so you know, just the body getting what are some of the things that you like to do to help the body detoxify, to help get that inflammation out?
So, I mean, personally, I have a personal sauna we have at the house.
Yeah, you can put a link down for that one. This is an amazing sauna. Head sticks out, portable, super reasonable compared to the big ones, and you don't have to have like a whole room for it, anything.
You don't freak out because your head's not getting hot. That's one of the things that can go up to a higher temperature and just completely sweat it out, and then shower it off. And I'm doing some green drinks, green juicing, where I'm, you know, just doing that in the sauna to get a lot of those toxins out. Getting lymph moving. I have a little rebounder, besides all the equipment in here, I do a little mini trampoline for 2 to 3 minutes a day. That's all it takes to try to get the lymph moving. And I do have a vibration plate where just, again, gets the lymph moving. So all of these are just getting some of those toxins out, but then you have to be going to the bathroom to get rid of that. You have to be, you know, flushing those toxins out as well.
Yeah, we always say, here's optimal digestion. You want to be having a bowel movement 1 to 3 times a day. It should look like a peeled banana. There shouldn't be gas or bloating or indigestion or heartburn or, oh my gosh, I look pregnant or any of those things. You should eat. When you feel like you have to go to the bathroom, go to the bathroom, and then when you eat, then that's it. No other symptoms or feelings or like, oh my gosh, I can tell what's happening in here. You shouldn't be able to tell that that's going on. But 1 to 3 times a day is going to be great to get moving. So if you need, you can take some more fiber, psyllium husk, you can do chia seed, flax seeds, magnesium is great. Yeah, veggies.
That's the hard one.
Yeah, lots of vegetables. You can do any type of aloe vera juice, vitamin C can be helpful. A lot of different things can make you go, but more importantly,
Drinking water.
Drinking water. And so a lot of people that are constipated are actually dehydrated. So that's another way. And then the last thing we want to look at when we're talking about blood work, or when we're talking about weight loss, is looking at blood work. And so you have to look at that body as a whole. You have to look at the thyroid and the liver, and you have to look at the hormones, testosterone and adrenal hormones and all of these different things, and get a great feel for what is going on. Otherwise, you're just kind of guessing and walking through the aisles of the natural grocers and like, holy cow, there's 40 aisles of supplements. What do I need to take?
Mm-hmm. And a lot of them just don't even have clean ingredients, so you might be putting more toxins in your body.
Or the research has shown that it doesn't even have what it says it's supposed to have.
Right. We're very cautious in our practice of making sure that things are assayed for the exact ingredients that they say they have before, as it comes in, as it goes out. They're double checking that it has what it says at the amount that it says it does.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, welcome anybody that's been jumping on. Dr. Ben Galliard, FA World Centers. This is Michelle Galliard, founder of Mind Core Method. We are talking about exercise and then some other ways to lose weight. The weight loss side, blood sugar, inflammation, blood work, but as far as the exercise goes, if you guys did not write this down, 180 minus your age. If you're somewhat healthy, somewhat fit, if you're coming off a disease, haven't exercised ever, you want to subtract 5 off of that, and then that would be your max. And for a lot of people, 5, 7, 10 minutes is going to be the max that they can handle.
Yeah, I started with 7 minutes and just doing some sort of interval training at the house, and got myself strong and healthy enough that I was able to eventually go to that CrossFit gym with him, and then I did fully get certified as a trainer.
You want to talk about that?
I don't know if I know as much about the Tabatas, but is
that? Yeah.
That's what all my workouts are.
Yeah.
Okay. Call them high intensity interval training. Just the 20 seconds at that max heart rate, and then 10 seconds of rest, where you don't really, you wouldn't have time to go much more than 10 or 15 points below that max, and then back up, keeping it at that max as your max for 20 seconds.
It's pretty much moving on to the next activity. So if somebody's doing some air squats and then they go walk over to the wall and it's about 10 seconds, and then they do 20 seconds of push-ups against the wall, and then they get their exercise stretchy band and do 20 seconds of pulls, and then do 20 seconds of squats, push, and just do that for 7 minutes. That could be the whole workout.
Yeah, it's really more about working those muscles than working that like cardio aerobic thought. The more muscle you are able to work and move and build, the higher your metabolism is throughout the day, long term, and then also just the totally lost that train of thought.
Well, there's 2 things that we're looking at. There's exercise and there's movement. And so movement, a lot of people are like, oh yeah, I'm going for a walk. I'm like, oh, are you taking your dog? And does it sniff and pee and do whatever? And it's like, yeah, I don't really get my heart rate up. So movement is great. We all move. People in Italy walk to the town or whatever and get their food each day. In Africa, they're walking to go get their water. New York City, they're going 9 miles a day in New York City just to get to work and back, etc. So movement, that's just life. Exercise is something that's totally different. Exercise is where, and a lot of, what was that women's exercise gym? Curves. So Curves, if you guys have ever been to Curves or heard of that, I knew women that were going there for 2-3 years in a row and never got more muscle tone, never lost weight or anything, because they'd be sitting there and do 30 times of something and just like talking to their friend, and they never pushed it. Like Michelle was saying, you get to that point where it's like 10, 11, 12, you've got to push past that point a little bit, especially after a few months of starting to work out.
Yeah, remember the other piece was muscle contraction itself, how it helps with blood sugar, especially if you were to have a spike in blood sugar, like, okay, we're learning and I ate something, it doesn't work, you go to movement exercise, muscle contraction, and it's going to contract muscles, it's going to help bring that glucose into the muscle and help process it better. So it's, for metabolism long term and for muscle contraction for blood sugar helping. So
yeah, at the gym now, cardio or lifting first? It's a great question.
I mix them both together.
Yeah, and
I like to do some bicep curls and a superset of something else, and then I go on the treadmill and do a little, like a what would you say, a quarter of a lap, keeping that heart rate in my zone, and then I go back and do a few more weights, and then I go back on the treadmill.
100 or 200
meters
in there. So you can do it that way. For me, my morning routine is I get on the treadmill and I read and pray and journal, and I'll put the treadmill, we've got one that goes up to 40%. I'll go 30, 35, 40%, and I'm only going like 1.3 miles an hour, but my heart rate's up at 120, and I'll do that for 15, 20 minutes and then drop it down as I'm writing. And so that's just, I kind of do my movement first during that. You can do a weight part of it, so you can do more of I'm going to do 10, 15 minutes of a dedicated chest or arms or whatever, and then do more of that 7-minute, which is almost like a cardio. If you're getting up, because
it's more of an interval.
You can do that. If it sounds like Shannon, you're familiar at the gym. So if you're doing kettlebell swings, if you're doing one arm dumbbell snatch, and then three burpees, and you go through that, I mean, that's going to be cardio.
But you're working muscles.
But you're working muscles as well. So I prefer doing it that if I'm going to try to, I was just saying to Michelle this morning, work your motor, and she.
I don't know what you meant.
But that's that ability to do more of that work and not get that heart rate too elevated. So that's your motor to be able to keep pushing, keep going, but not go over that heart rate. So Sherry, what kind of movement for a bad knee? What do you got there?
So I keep things away. Lunges, I'll keep movements away that are extreme pressure on that knee. So you can alter things. Is it like an injury that's temporary and you're gonna heal, or if it's like, yeah, something like that, you're gonna alter your exercise, whether it's chronic or acute. But like in my beginner HIIT workouts, I am very mindful of joints, and so there'll never be a lunge because those are pretty intense on the knees. But usually an air squat is okay for most people, and you'll go down to before there's pain, making sure this transverse abdominis, me at all, I'm big on that. And then doing things that are, like I'll have people do push-ups on the wall if it's too strong for them to be on the floor. So same thing with legs, you do things in an altered way that will kind of support that joint. So impact, like when I have people do jumping jacks, but they've got knee stuff, we might just do this, I don't want to hit duck, instead of the jumping, instead of putting impact. So taking impact off and taking lunges especially off, but things like air squats might be okay.
And you could even do like almost a semi-stiff deadlift, where you're coming like this, and so if you see my legs through here, I'm not going all the way down, but kind of through here, and going through there, pulling that core in. You could also, we have patients and people that we've trained where, okay, you do a squat until, all right, it starts to hurt there. Okay, and then you come up and just go through that range of motion until you feel that pain. You don't have to go all the way down, but just go until you feel that painful spot, and then you move through there. If I do squats or lunges, my legs hurt for days. Is there a way to prevent or fix that?
Well, is this muscle soreness, in which case you're gaining strength and metabolism? So if it's muscle soreness, yes.
It sounds like it's something that's recurring.
An achy joint type thing.
Keep coming. If it's that muscle soreness, then it definitely could be an inflammatory process. You may not be getting very good sleep. And sleep is when the recovery, because anybody can go and train like Arnold Schwarzenegger. You know, you could, if you had a trainer and you had somebody pushing you, you could go until absolute failure and do all these things, but you're not going to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger because you're not sleeping, you're not eating enough protein, you're not digesting well enough, you're not repairing, your adrenals are shot, all of these other things. So Monica, I would say, you know, there's got to be some type of inflammatory condition going on in the body, and that's what we're seeing here. So, all right, any other questions so far? Looks like that is kind of wrapping it up. Well, let me finish up here, guys. Exercise is crucial. It's something we do all the time. It's every day. It's just part of our life. We've got movement and we've got exercise. Movement, you've got to get out for walks, get on the bike, do a hike, whatever it is. But then there's exercise where 2, 3, 4 times a week, you've got to get that heart rate elevated, get it up into that good range,
and muscle contraction,
and get the actual muscle contraction where you're doing something to 8, 10, 12, and it's almost a failure. And that's actually going to be what's going to challenge the body to build more muscle mass. The more muscle mass you have, the higher metabolism you have. The higher metabolism you have, the more you're going to lose weight. And that muscle contraction, there was a study done where they had 2 groups. One group, and they were both pre-diabetic, one group was on a stationary bike for 7 minutes. The other group was going for walks and cardiovascular. And what happened was that they tracked their blood sugar just like we do with our patients, and they found that the group that did the 7-minute bicycle sprint once a week had better blood sugar stabilization than the group that was going out for 3 or 4 cardiovascular exercises a week. So that massive contraction of muscle, not just at the time, but over even the course of the rest of the week, stabilize that blood sugar. So if you guys have questions, if you have any issues, if you're not getting the results you want with your exercise, with your weight loss, anything else, click the link down below that Brittany put down there. Reach out. I've got over 700 videos on YouTube and talking about all types of different issues. And if you want to get more on MindCore and what Michelle does, MindCore method, and you can definitely jump in and watch some of her videos, get some more information there. So love having you guys on. Any last minute words there?
Not that I can think of. Just get yourselves moving in a healthy place, in a healthy zone. And it's just, I mean, when I was getting my master's, I said, can I just write a paper that says exercise fixes just about everything and we'll call it good? Because when you're doing it in a healthy way, it reverses aging, it helps the heart, it just does everything for us. So
awesome.
Make sure that's a part of your health routine.
Good to see you guys. Take care. Let us know what questions you have.